The act of former President Uhuru Kenyatta ordering the police to vacate, or rather to leave the UDA headquarters by immediate effect is something that elicited reactions from yesterday. And there is one that has really captured my attention, a reaction from Miguna Miguna saying that Uhuru Kenyatta is plotting a coup against William Samoei Ruto. I don't think, and I listened to Uhuru Kenyatta's speech there. Number one, I think he said we are peace-loving Kenyans, and there are those who won, and we gave out power. And actually, he spoke about the peaceful transition that he did. And for me, I'll remain stuck on that. Uhuru Kenyatta wanted Raila Odinga to be the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. But that those who are around him that maybe did not buy into that. But immediately he realized that maybe it was time to hand over. He decided, so be it, and handed over power peacefully. Now, what is happening about the provocation? Because the truth be told, I think Uhuru has kept his cool. You cannot compare the Jubilee invasion and the private farm invasion. You cannot compare even the Jubilee party headquarters invasion with the trouble against CS Matiang'i, where he actually cautioned and said that he would be willing to go there and release CS Matiang'i personally from that place. And so there have been a lot of reactions into it. And the fact, there is one thing you need to know, that the security ranks around President Uhuru Kenyatta are way above those officers that were sent there. And again, just 8 months ago, this was the commander-in-chief of the defense forces. Uhuru Kenyatta was a president. So he lost the status of a president, but you cannot rub away that he still has powers. And I was waiting whether they were going to tear gas him and see whether there was going to be a precedence of trying to tear gas him. It will be a bit of an interesting one there. He came out in casual, of course, with the usual security. And then one thing observation made is that he mingled with Kenyans. I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta came out as a man who was out going for war. No. He actually went out, and even when he was speaking at Jubilee headquarters, he spoke and said, I'm happy that you came and protected our party leader, our party members, and supporters and followers. And that was his point. But the discussion about Uhuru Kenyatta, about Ruto, and I remember what Meguna is saying, that Uhuru or Ruto must reshuffle the military by immediate effect because there can be. And then I ask, this is coming at a time when there is a discussion in this country about who is going to be the chief of the defense forces, or rather, who is going to take that position of Kabochi. I don't think I'm using the chief of defense forces is commander-in-chief. I think is CDF, the commander-in-chief of defense forces. So the person who is going to take that, taking over from Kabochi, the discussion has been going on. And I think the council is supposed to meet in April. The military council is supposed to meet in April. Then that decision will be made whether they're extending the term of Kabochi or they're going to obey the General Tonje rules and allow someone from Air Force to take over, or they will break and William Ruto to pick his own person, because I think that's also, I think within the law that is around there. So that discussion is coming, and I think it's an overstatement and this bit of trying to hit or just trying to defame former President Uhuru Kenyatta, that him coming out, because surely, does Uhuru Kenyatta need military, does he need the military nod for him to leave and go? Let's just agree. Let's just get to this point. Do you think Uhuru Kenyatta needs to ask the military, or needs to be accompanied by the military guys so that they go and he goes there. However, this is the truth. And this is what Miguna is saying, that if Uhuru Kenyatta will then hit the road, or any attempt to try to demean him, or let's just try to imagine maybe a tear gas is thrown on his way and Fracas comes out. You never know. The guy, that gentleman, 8 months was the head of the military. So there is a very high likelihood that they will not feel comfortable with everything that is going on against former President Uhuru Kenyatta. But I'll tell you why that split, that talk of split about the military in the wake of this Uhuru, where that narrative is coming. And they have chosen it with a specific purpose. Even yesterday, Defense CS Eden Duale is one of the leaders that reacted, saying the way Uhuru is fighting for a small party here and there. And for me, I don't buy it, because that party belonged to him. What Uhuru was simply protecting is, he was actually trying to protect Kioni. Simply, and he came out not to respond to Kanini Kega and Sabina Chege. He was actually coming out to send a message to William Ruto that you cannot take this party, just do your politics, take care of the country, but matters of the Jubilee, leave them to me. That's why Uhuru Kenyatta came out. Now, let me tell you, there is something that no one else is talking about. Yesterday, when the police went there, and in the middle of that fracas, they decided to lob tear gas in neighboring plots. And there is a mzee who came out and said that even his grandson or grandchildren, were actually tear gassed by the police on their way after school, from school. Okay, I know schools are closed, but there maybe they're not doing 844, so they're still in school or some sort of a tuition. And immediately, just because of that, the landlord of the place, because that office is actually rented, came out and demanded that Jubilee guys leave that place. They demanded that Jubilee party should actually evacuate that premise because of fracas, and it's a disturbance to the residents staying in Kileleshwa. Now, and I can tell you, the intention, it was a choreographed clash. They knew very well that going to Jubilee party is not a problem. If Kanini Kega wants to go to Jubilee party, or whether in his capacity as someone who wants to be an SG, and he goes there alone, no one will block him from going. And even if he goes there, he can go and sit there the whole day, then leave. But going there with the contingent of the police and causing the fracas, it was intentional. Because asking, it was a plan that was choreographed to make sure that Jubilee is removed from that place. And that is why even that mzee was standby, was the landlord. I want to believe that that is not the first time that there is a fracas there. Let's say the truth. Even the last time, there were a bit of that fracas. Instead of asking the police, because there could still be an altercation between the two camps around that place, but police they are not supposed to lob tear gas into private residence of some people. And even those who gave that office, they knew that was a political office. That was going to be a political office. So clearly, from what I saw, the plan was to make sure that Jubilee party is removed from that headquarters. Maybe number one, then they will just try to destabilize it. They will maybe try to speak to any other landlords around Nairobi. They still can do that to stop them from hosting the Jubilee guys. But Uhuru Kenyatta also have a bit of, I think, his connection. I don't think it's something that you can actually, if Uhuru wants to find a place to put up that party, I don't think he can miss. He can get, even within an hour, he can just make a call and get. But then, it could bordering two things. One, someone wants to take that property. Number two, it's about the land where that office is. But then, let's just go back to the question of Uhuru Kenyatta appearing. I was just giving you the reason why the fracas was actually staged there. Now, Uhuru Kenyatta appearance, they are dragging military into it. The reason why they are actually dragging the military, the coup story is, I think the UDA team know very well that in the public courts, it does not make any sense for it does not make any sense, and Kanini Kega is actually a gun for hire. He do not mean well to be the Secretary General of the party, but is just coming out to destabilize. And you don't need anything else to see that there are actually people that are being sent. So what they are trying to divert the point is because they cannot win the Jubilee takeover. No one has ever done it. There was an attempt at Ford Kenya. It failed flat. That's it. At Ford Kenya, remember, when SL's new teams tried to stage such a coup, it failed flat. So, it has never happened and it has never succeeded. So they know very well that that thing will not get anywhere. How can you be a secretary? How can you come up with your leadership and say you've won and create all those scenes while the party leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, who I believe is the owner of that party, the father of that party, do not recognize you? How do you, then who is going to be a party leader? Okay, let's put Kega be the Secretary General. So who is going to be the party leader? That narrative of military story of trying to rapture, it's just a story that is being created. Number two, someone wants to create an impression that Uhuru Kenyatta wants to take over power. I'm like, for what? If there is to be a coup, how does Uhuru benefit? Let's just look at it. How does Uhuru Kenyatta benefit? Will Uhuru Kenyatta become president? No. Will he even become a deputy? No. So someone wants to create some sort of an environment that, Uhuru wants to take over power, so that if Raila Odinga team restarts that mass action, then it will be blamed partly on Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. It's a narrative that has just been brought forth. Then the third reason is this. It's not a coincidence that it's supposed to be military reshuffle. They are coming. They are coming. So you may not be shocked that people just took an advantage of that opportunity, the fact that former President Uhuru Kenyatta came out to dangle that narrative, so that when a decision is made, or maybe some ridiculous decisions is made in terms of the reshuffle at the military, it can partly be apportioned. The blame can be, or rather it can be attributed to what is going on. So I don't take it. For me, it's a pedestrian talk. I don't see that would be an intention of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. There is something that people don't want to agree. Uhuru is a cool kid. Uhuru is pampered prince. I don't think that's the bit of it. If what Megona Mgini is saying is what would be Uhuru Kenyatta, then I can say that in 2013, William Ruto is on record saying that Uhuru even wanted to leave power, and it had to be forced. If that is it, then Raila Odinga would have been the president, because Uhuru had just to go extrajudicial, out of the law, and make sure that things are done. So we need to look at it in a broader perspective. It's a pedestrian talk. It's something that cannot, but then it's not a coincidence that it's coming at a time when those reshuffles are actually supposed to be effected. That's it, guys. The next video we shall do in the beautiful county of Siaya.